Hey everyone! Ever wondered what makes each corner of the United States special? In this video, we're taking a tour through all 50 states to discover what makes each one unique and what challenges they face. Drop a comment below and let us know, which state would you live in, or which one are you dying to visit? If you already live in the US, share your experience about the best and worst parts of your state. Let's kick off this journey through all 50 states in alphabetical order. Alabama carries a history of struggle that transformed the United States. It was here that Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus, sparking the civil rights movement. The city is now home to the Legacy Museum, one of the country's most important museums documenting this struggle. Another historic landmark was the Selma March, led by Martin Luther King Jr. Southern hospitality is one of the state's defining features, along with the impressive Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, where many NASA astronauts train and various space technologies are developed. Unfortunately, Alabama struggles with high poverty rates and low education rankings, consistently placing at the bottom of national education metrics. Imagine a place so vast you could fit Texas inside it twice. Alaska is the largest state by area, with breathtaking frozen landscapes and simply fascinating wildlife, including polar bears, moose, and bald eagles. The most populous city is Anchorage, with about 200,000 residents, while the capital Juneau has just 30,000 inhabitants, but receives an average of 20,000 tourists daily from cruise ships during the season. Speaking of which, taking a cruise is one of the best ways to explore this frozen paradise. Despite all this grandeur, Alaska is one of the most isolated states, where a simple trip to the grocery store can cost twice what you'd pay in the lower 48. The cost of living is extremely high, and during winter, some regions get only a few hours of sunlight per day. Home to the majestic Grand Canyon and other impressive national parks, Arizona is known for its breathtaking desert landscapes and rich preservation of Navajo and Hopi, Native American cultures. Among the most important cities are the capital Phoenix, Tucson, and the mystical Sedona, a spiritual destination famous for its red rock formations and supposed energy vortexes. What few people know is that Arizona also houses the best preserved meteor crater in the world, measuring 1.2 kilometers in diameter and 170 meters deep. The worst part? The brutally hot and dry summers, when thermometers easily exceed 115 degrees in many cities, making outdoor activities nearly impossible for several months. This state features crystal-clear rivers and hot springs that form stunning landscapes. Part of the famous Ozark Mountains is located here, offering incredible hiking trails and panoramic views. Little Rock, the capital, and Fayetteville are the best-known cities, each with its own charm. The state is also known as the Land of Opportunity and is home to Walmart's world headquarters in Bentonville. Among the negatives are low income and education levels. A concerning fact is that the town of Harrison has earned a reputation as one of the most racist in the country, with a history of segregation that still leaves its mark today. When it comes to privileged geography, California hit the jackpot. The state literally has it all: stunning beaches, towering mountains, ancient forests, and spectacular canyons. This is where you'll find the impressive Yosemite National Park, one of the most visited in the world, with its waterfalls and massive granite formations. Cultural diversity is another major highlight. As the most populous state in the country, California is a true melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions. From bustling Los Angeles and San Francisco to tech-savvy Silicon Valley, the state is considered the richest in the US, ranking as the fifth largest economy in the world, if it were an independent country. But it's not all sunshine and roses. The cost of living is simply astronomical. A basic apartment in San Francisco can cost more than $4,000 a month. Traffic is chaotic, and the state faces constant threats from major wildfires and earthquakes. The housing crisis is so severe that more than 150,000 people live homeless, If you're passionate about nature and adventure, Colorado is practically heaven on earth. Its spectacular Rocky Mountain range offers breathtaking scenery and is the ideal destination for activities like mountaineering, hiking, climbing, snowboarding, and skiing. Denver is the vibrant, modern capital, but cities like Aspen, Boulder, and Breckenridge are among the most visited, especially in winter. The state is also known for its world-class craft breweries and was one of the first to legalize recreational marijuana in the U.S. The downside is the high cost of living and visiting. The ski resorts are among the most expensive in the country. Additionally, winter can be really long, lasting up to 6 months in some mountainous regions, which can be challenging for those not accustomed to snow and very low temperatures. With high-quality education and renowned universities like Yale, Connecticut offers a high standard of living in developed cities like Hartford, the capital, and Stamford. A neighbor to New York, the state has historical charm with its colonial towns and is known as the Constitution State. Interestingly, Connecticut is the birthplace of the first American hamburger, created in 1900 in New Haven, and also home to the first public telephone, installed in Hartford in 1878. Known for being a true tax haven with no sales tax, Delaware attracts companies from all over the country. More than 60% of Fortune 500 companies are registered here for tax reasons. Its largest city is Wilmington, and the state also has beautiful beaches along the Atlantic coast. Delaware also has the historical merit of being the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, hence its nickname, the First State. As the second smallest state by area, Delaware offers fewer job opportunities and cultural options compared to its more populous neighbors. The lack of geographic diversity can also be limiting for those who enjoy variety in landscapes. The state most visited by international tourists has 825 miles of sunny beaches, crystal-clear springs, world-class theme parks, and one of the country's main ecosystems, the Everglades, a unique tropical wetland with an impressive diversity of wildlife, including alligators and Florida panthers, an endangered species. The Latin influence, especially Cuban, makes Florida one of the states where Spanish is most widely spoken in the U.S. Miami vibrates to the sound of salsa and reggaeton, while Orlando enchants with its magical parks and immersive experiences. But this paradise has its risks. Florida is the state most likely to be hit by devastating hurricanes, faces intense and humid heat in summer that can be suffocating, and has experienced a dramatic increase in the cost of living in recent years. During hurricane season between June and November, residents need to be constantly prepared for possible evacuations. Diversity of races, cultures, and unique cuisine mark Georgia, the state where Martin Luther King Jr. was born, and which played a fundamental role in the civil rights struggle. Atlanta, its largest city, is an important cultural and economic center, while Savannah charms with its colonial architecture and tree-lined streets, being the oldest municipality in the state. The city of Marietta is home to Georgia's largest Brazilian community, forming a little piece of Brazil on American soil. The peach, a fruit historically produced here, is the official symbol of the state, which is affectionately called the Peach State. Economic inequality and the lack of efficient public transportation are some of the main problems faced by Georgia, with rural areas often forgotten by the development that benefits the major centers. A true tropical paradise formed by 8 main islands with turquoise waters, active volcanoes, imposing mountains, and a unique blend of the local and native culture. This is Hawaii. The island of Oahu is home to the capital Honolulu and the famous Waikiki Beach. The archipelago offers unique experiences, from surfing some of the best waves in the world to watching the spectacle of Kilauea volcano's lava meeting the ocean on the Big Island. If there's one place on my travel bucket list, it's definitely Hawaii. On the other hand, living in paradise has its challenges. The geographic isolation. We're talking about the most remote inhabited place on the planet, almost 2,500 miles from the mainland, results in an astronomical cost of living. Many residents need to work multiple jobs just to pay rent. With virtually untouched nature and leadership in potato production, providing 1/3 of all potatoes consumed in the U.S., Idaho is a hidden treasure in the American Northwest. The capital, Boise, also stands out for offering excellent quality of life and consistently appears among the best cities to live in the United States, combining a vibrant urban environment with easy access to nature. The state also houses part of the impressive Yellowstone National Park. The scarcity of services in more remote areas and the isolation of some communities are the negative points of the state, which still struggles to diversify its economy beyond agriculture. It's in this state that you'll find the fascinating city of Chicago, the third largest in the United States. Known for its impressive skyscraper architecture, including the Willis Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the country, rich cultural, scene and diverse cuisine, Chicago is the heart of Illinois. The city played a crucial role in the history of American jazz and blues, and is famous for its deep dish pizza, a tall pie with lots of cheese and sauce that is practically a local institution. Chicago is in northern Illinois, where winter is intensely cold, with temperatures that frequently drop below 5 degrees Celsius. In addition, high taxes and high crime rates in some areas, especially in certain Chicago neighborhoods, are significant challenges that affect the quality of life in the state. Famous for the Indianapolis races, the legendary Indy 500 that attracts more than 300,000 spectators annually. Indiana has strong sporting roots and is considered one of the cradles of American basketball. The state offers an affordable cost of living compared to its neighbors, and its residents are known for genuine hospitality, characteristic of the so-called Midwestern nice, the typical kindness of the American Midwest. Among Indiana's negative points is the lack of investment in public infrastructure and limited job opportunities outside the main urban centers, which has resulted in an exodus of young talent to neighboring states with more opportunities. Iowa is a predominantly rural state, with an impressive 90% of its territory dominated by well-maintained farmland. It's the largest corn producer in the United States. When you eat a product with corn syrup, there's a good chance it started on an Iowa farm. The capital, Des Moines, is the most developed and dynamic city, with a downtown area revitalized in recent years. The state also has special political importance for being the first to hold presidential caucuses, kicking off the American electoral process. The less attractive side is that Iowa is a state with little demographic diversity and limited urban and cultural opportunities compared to neighboring states, which may not appeal to those seeking a more cosmopolitan life. Known for its vast golden plains that stretch as far as the eye can see, and for its powerful agricultural industry, Kansas has a rich history linked to the American westward expansion. It's the setting for the classic The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy says the famous line, "We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto," a reference that has become part of American popular culture. The state is nicknamed the Sunflower State, due to the immense fields of this flower that color its landscape in summer. The downside is that Kansas is one of the states most threatened by tornadoes in the U.S., located in the heart of the so-called Tornado Alley. The region records an average of more than 50 tornadoes per year, some devastating, which represents a constant risk for residents. Kentucky is world famous for horse racing, especially the Kentucky Derby, an event that attracts American high society every year. Rural culture, the beautiful natural landscapes of the Appalachian Mountains, and outdoor spaces are other major attractions. Louisville is one of the most well-known and vibrant cities in the state, and also the birthplace of boxer Muhammad Ali and the famous Kentucky bourbon, a drink that generates billions in tourism annually with its Bourbon Trail, a route that runs through the main historical distilleries. Unfortunately, the state faces serious public health problems with alarming rates of obesity, smoking, and alcoholism well above the national average. The opioid epidemic has also hit Kentucky hard, affecting entire communities. With a rich French and Creole heritage, Louisiana is a unique state that seems to transport visitors to another country. You can't talk about Louisiana without highlighting New Orleans, a city that pulses to the sound of jazz, with its mystical atmosphere, distinct architecture, and celebrations like the famous Mardi Gras. Cajun and Creole cuisine, with dishes like jambalaya, gumbo, and crawfish étouffée, is recognized worldwide and reflects the mixture of African, French, Spanish, and Caribbean influences that shape the local culture. Unfortunately, one of the worst hurricanes in modern history, Katrina, devastated part of Louisiana in 2005, and to this day the state suffers from the damage left by this catastrophe. Additionally, Louisiana faces serious challenges related to poverty, with almost 20% of the population living below the poverty line, and coastal erosion that causes the state to lose the equivalent of a football field of land every hour. One of the states least known to international visitors, Maine hides extraordinary natural beauty and iconic landscapes, with historic lighthouses that look like they came straight out of a postcard. The state is famous for its fresh lobsters. More than 40 million are caught annually in the region's cold waters. The capital, Augusta, and the port city of Portland are among the most charming in the state. Maine is also home to the impressive Acadia National Park, with its granite mountains that meet the Atlantic in breathtaking scenes. Seeing these images, Maine really seems like a paradise. And it would be if it weren't for the harsh, cold climate that dominates much of the year. The winters are brutally long, with temperatures that frequently drop below 5 degrees, and snowstorms that can isolate entire communities. Rich in cultural and historical diversity, Maryland has significant political importance due to its proximity to the federal capital, Washington, D.C. The state has varied geography from the Atlantic coast to the mountains in the west. Baltimore is the best-known city, with its revitalized historic port, an important cultural scene. Maryland is also famous for its delicious blue crab seasoned with Old Bay, a spice mixture that has become a symbol of local cuisine. Among the negative points are the heavy traffic in metropolitan areas, especially in the corridor connecting Baltimore to Washington, D.C., and the high cost of living that places the state among the most expensive to live in the U.S. When talking about Brazilian immigrants, Massachusetts has the largest community in the entire U.S., especially in the cities of Framingham and Everett, where it's common to hear Portuguese on the streets and find Brazilian markets and restaurants. Historic and with exceptionally high educational levels, Massachusetts is home to the developed City of Boston, the iconic Harvard University, and the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. The state was the stage for important events in American history, such as the Boston Tea Party, which helped trigger the American Revolution. The downside is, without a doubt, the long and rigorous winter that can last more than 5 months, with temperatures that frequently drop below freezing and snowstorms that paralyze entire cities. The high cost of living, especially in the Boston metropolitan area, also drives away many potential residents. A state shaped by the Great Lakes, Michigan has a unique mitten-like shape, hence the nickname, the Mitten State, and has the longest freshwater coastline in the United States, more than 3,200 miles of shoreline. Michigan has a strong presence in the automotive industry, with emphasis on Detroit, known as Motor City, and the birthplace of major American automakers. It's so important to the sector that it's officially known as the National Automobile Capital. Michigan is also the largest producer of blueberries in the U.S., accounting for nearly 30% of national production. Economic problems and urban violence, however, are registered in some areas of the state, especially in Detroit, which has suffered a dramatic decline in recent decades. The city was once the 4th largest in the U.S., but lost more than half its population and declared bankruptcy in 2013, the largest municipal bankruptcy in American history. Known as the Land of 10,000 Lakes. Actually, there are more than 15,000. Minnesota has a strong Scandinavian heritage that influences everything from its culture to its cuisine. The state is a national leader in dairy production, especially artisanal cheeses. The largest city is Minneapolis, which together with the capital St. Paul forms the Twin Cities, an important cultural and economic center of the American Midwest. Minnesota is also known for its exceptionally polite and friendly people, a phenomenon called Minnesota Nice. The worst part of the state, without a doubt, is the extremely harsh winter, one of the coldest in the United States. Temperatures can drop to an impressive 40 degrees, with an even worse wind chill, and snow can remain on the ground for more than 5 months. In 1996, the town of Tower recorded 60 degrees, the lowest temperature ever recorded outside Alaska. Rich in Southern culture and the birthplace of the blues, a musical style that influenced practically all modern American popular music, Mississippi was dominated by cotton farms and agricultural towns in the past. Today, the state has a more diversified economy and growing tourism, attracting visitors interested in its history and musical culture. The capital is Jackson, and the state's name derives from the mighty Mississippi River, which forms its western border and is one of the most important in the country for transporting goods. Although it's a state known for its warm southern hospitality, Mississippi faces serious socioeconomic challenges, being considered the poorest in the United States. Almost 20% of the population lives below the poverty line, and the state consistently appears in the last positions in indicators of health, education, and quality of life. The impressive Gateway Arch in St. Louis, with its 630 feet in height, is the symbol of Missouri, a state that sits right in the middle of the United States and serves as a gateway to the American West, hence the nickname, the Gateway State. Contrary to what many think, the promising Kansas City, which will be one of the host cities for the 2026 World Cup, is mainly in Missouri, on the border with Kansas. Not in Kansas. The city is famous for its unmatched barbecue and vibrant jazz scene. The crime present in some urban areas, especially in certain regions of St. Louis, which consistently appears among the cities with the highest homicide rates in the country, is a significant problem for the state. Social inequalities are also striking, with rural areas facing poverty and lack of access to basic services. One of the most beautiful and least populous states in the United States, Montana is known as Big Sky Country due to its seemingly infinite horizons and impressively open skies. Montana has national parks with spectacular landscapes, such as Glacier National Park, and hosts a part of the famous Yellowstone. Wildlife is abundant, with grizzly bears, wolves, moose, and bison living in preserved areas. The capital is called Helena, and cities like Missoula and Bozeman are gaining popularity as destinations for nature lovers and outdoor sports enthusiasts. The downside is the geographic and climatic isolation for much of the year. In some remote areas, winter can mean months of isolation, with roads blocked by snow and extreme temperatures. A large rural state in the heart of America, Nebraska, is famous for its vast plains that inspired writers like Willa Cather. The state is one of the leaders in national agricultural production, especially corn and beef. Among the best-known cities are the capital Lincoln, home to the state's main university, and Omaha, the largest urban center and home to billionaire investor Warren Buffett, who continues to live in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. The downside, according to residents, is the lack of cultural diversity and attractions compared to neighboring states, as well as vulnerability to extreme weather events such as tornadoes and severe storms. The predominantly agricultural economy is also subject to market fluctuations and unpredictable weather conditions. Impressive desert landscapes and, of course, extravagant Las Vegas are the highlights of Nevada. The city of casinos and 24-hour entertainment receives more than 40 million visitors annually and is home to 17 of the 20 largest hotels in the United States. Besides tourism, Nevada is the largest gold producer in the U.S., accounting for 75% of national production. Carson City, the capital, and Reno are other important municipalities in the region, each with its own charm. The extreme dependence on tourism, evidenced during the pandemic when unemployment rates soared, and the severe desert climate, with temperatures that easily exceed 115 degrees F in summer, are constant challenges for Nevada's sustainable development. Water scarcity is also a growing concern in one of the driest states in the country. Known for its granite white mountains, New Hampshire is located in the extreme northeast of the country, near Maine. The state has a strong historical identity, being one of the 13 original colonies and a tradition of political independence reflected in its motto, "Live free or die." Manchester and Nashua are the largest cities, although small compared to metropolises in other states. New Hampshire has special political importance for holding the country's first presidential primaries, helping to define the course of national elections. The high cost of living, especially in terms of housing and property taxes, is among the main challenges faced by New Hampshire residents. The long and rigorous winters, with frequent snowstorms and temperatures well below freezing, can also be an obstacle for those not accustomed to the northern climate. New Jersey literally has it all. Preserved forests, stunning beaches along the Atlantic coast, like the famous Atlantic City, and densely populated urban areas. Its proximity to New York makes the state a strategic place to live, albeit at a high cost. Newark International Airport, one of the busiest in the country and a gateway for many international visitors, is in New Jersey. Like Massachusetts, New Jersey is home to a significant Brazilian community, mainly in the cities of Newark and Elizabeth. Paying high taxes, among the highest in the country, is one of the greatest difficulties for those living in New Jersey. Congested traffic in metropolitan areas and industrial pollution in certain regions also negatively impact the quality of life of its residents. If there's one state that genuinely preserves indigenous and Hispanic culture, it's New Mexico. Its unique architecture, influenced by Pueblo peoples and ancestral traditions, make New Mexico a fascinating cultural destination. The stunning desert landscape, with its otherworldly red rock formations, attracts artists and filmmakers from around the globe. Historic cities like Santa Fe, the oldest state capital in the U.S., and Albuquerque drive the region's economy through tourism and film production. On the downside, the state struggles with high crime rates, especially drug-related offenses, and concerning poverty levels, with over 18% of the population living below the poverty line. Water scarcity remains a constant concern in this desert region. From dizzying skyscrapers to majestic waterfalls, New York State offers contrasting experiences. While Albany is the capital, it's New York City that's the global meeting point. A true cultural melting pot where more than 800 different languages are spoken. Manhattan, one of the city's 5 boroughs, is among the most visited places on the planet, with iconic attractions like Central Park, Broadway, Times Square, and the Empire State Building. But the state is also home to the impressive Niagara Falls and the beautiful Hudson Valley wine region. The state's biggest challenge is undoubtedly the sky-high cost of living, especially in New York City, where a small apartment can easily cost over $3,000 per month. The glaring social inequality, with extreme wealth existing side by side with severe poverty, is also a harsh reality that's hard to ignore. North Carolina offers impressive geographic diversity: Atlantic beaches in the east, the central Piedmont, and the Appalachian Mountains in the west, giving residents the opportunity to experience beach in the morning and mountains in the afternoon in the same trip. The state is home to cities consistently ranked among the best places to live in the U.S., such as Charlotte, a financial hub, Greensboro, Raleigh, part of the famous Research Triangle, a center for innovation and technology, and charming Asheville, known for its art scene and craft breweries. Uneven development between rural and urban areas is one of North Carolina's weaknesses. While cities like Charlotte and Raleigh thrive with technology and finance industries, many rural communities face persistent poverty and lack access to essential services like quality healthcare and education. Bordering Canada, North Dakota is one of the most rural and least populous states in America. It's known for preserving indigenous culture, especially of the Lakota and Dakota nations, and for its vast sunflower fields that create stunning landscapes in summer. The state experienced an economic boom in the 2010s, thanks to the discovery of huge oil and natural gas reserves in the Bakken Formation, attracting workers from across the country. The main cities are the capital Bismarck and Fargo, immortalized by the Coen brothers' film of the same name. The harsh winter climate, with temperatures that can plummet to an impressive -40°C and blizzards that isolate entire communities, and geographic isolation are among the disadvantages of living in or visiting North Dakota. The distance between cities and lack of public transportation also pose significant challenges, especially for the elderly and those without cars. Ohio isn't just the heart state. It's a place with its own personality. With major cities like Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, this state has a culture that surprises visitors. You know what I find amazing about Ohio? It's a state that perfectly balances diverse industry with affordable quality of life. As locals often say, the natural landscapes are breathtaking, especially in the Lakes region. But it's not all roses. Winter in Ohio, man, it's cold enough to freeze your thoughts. With temperatures that can drop to 13 degrees in some regions, the state frequently appears on lists of America's most challenging winters. Worth mentioning that Ohio is also known as the birthplace of aviation, since the Wright brothers, inventors of the airplane, were born there. And for thrill seekers, Cedar Point, considered by many to be the best roller coaster park in the world, is right in Ohio. Oklahoma has much more to offer than just the country and cowboy culture everyone imagines. Did you know the state is home to more than 39 Native American tribes? That's right. The Native American heritage is alive in local traditions, festivals, and even the cuisine. Major cities like Oklahoma City and Tulsa are vibrant urban centers that are constantly evolving. Oklahoma City, in fact, has undergone an impressive urban transformation in recent decades, with the Bricktown district becoming a must-visit tourist spot. The problem is you never know when the sky's gonna fall, as they say there. Oklahoma sits in the heart of the famous Tornado Alley, and extreme weather changes are a constant challenge. On average, the state records about 52 tornadoes per year, more than most other American states combined. It's no wonder Oregon always tops the lists of America's most beautiful states. Near California, the state is a true spectacle of natural beauty, dense forests, impressive mountains, and a coastline that looks like it's straight out of a movie. Once you visit Oregon, you always want to come back, locals say. And it's no exaggeration. The state is the nation's largest timber producer, with its immense Douglas fir forests, home to some of the tallest trees on the planet. Portland, the most famous city, is known for its quirky charm and alternative culture. The unofficial motto of the city is "Keep Portland Weird," which says a lot about the unique personality of the place. But it's not all wonderful. The cost of living in Oregon has risen considerably in recent years, especially in Portland and Eugene. Additionally, climate change has intensified problems with devastating forest fires, affecting not only nature, but also air quality and residents' lives. Pennsylvania is a state rich in history, particularly for its key role in the American Revolution. It's impossible to talk about the U.S. without mentioning Philadelphia, home to the iconic Liberty Bell and Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. Pennsylvania is where the American dream began. As historians say, besides history, the state features charming rural towns like Lancaster, home to the Amish community, where 18th century traditions are still preserved. Pittsburgh, another important city, has reinvented itself from a steel industrial center to a hub for technology, healthcare, and education. But not everything is perfect. The state faces a growing wave of social inequalities, with huge disparities between prosperous urban areas and rural regions in economic decline. Pennsylvania's cuisine also deserves highlight, with the famous Philly cheesesteak and delicious pretzels that are part of the local food identity. Rhode Island may be the nation's smallest state by area, but it's giant in personality. Known for la chaux, its picturesque coastal towns and rich maritime culture, this tiny state has a charm that captivates visitors. Providence, the capital, is a cultural center with prestigious universities like Brown University and the Rhode Island School of Design. The best thing about Rhode Island? You can drive across the entire state in less than an hour. Locals joke. Newport, another important city, is home to impressive American Gilded Age mansions that served as summer cottages for families like the Vanderbilts. Despite all its charm, Rhode Island records crime rates above the national average, especially in denser urban areas, a constant challenge for local authorities and residents. South Carolina played a crucial role in American history, especially during the Civil War. The first shot of that conflict was fired at Fort Sumter in Charleston Bay, one of the most historic and beautiful cities in the country. Charleston is like time travel with Wi-Fi, visitors often say. With its preserved architecture, palm trees, and southern hospitality, the city frequently appears on lists of America's most charming cities. The capital, Columbia, and charming Greenville are other urban highlights, each with its own personality. Myrtle Beach, with its 60 miles of sandy coastline, attracts millions of tourists every year. Like its northern neighbor, South Carolina also faces significant problems with social inequalities and educational disparities between different regions of the state. There's nothing more emblematic in South Dakota than the image of Mount Rushmore, where the faces of 4 American presidents are carved. The monument, however, generates controversy due to its roots in the oppression of the region's indigenous peoples, especially the Lakota, for whom those mountains, called Six Grandfathers, are sacred. South Dakota is a state of contrasts, breathtaking natural beauty, and a complex history, as historians observe. The state has a strong Native American culture, with the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation being one of the largest in the U.S. The natural beauty is breathtaking, with highlights including the impressive Badlands National Park, with its surreal rock formations that seem from another planet. The Crazy Horse Memorial, when completed, will be the world's largest sculpture. Among the state's challenges are the severe climate, with brutal winters and scorching summers, plus the lack of services in remote areas. Some residents must drive more than an hour to reach the nearest grocery store. Tennessee is a mountainous state that's home to the magnificent Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the most visited national park in the U.S., receiving over 12 million visitors annually. Rich in nature and heartland culture, Tennessee is a state that breathes music. Nashville, known as the country music capital, is home to the famous Grand Ole Opry and hundreds of bars with live music. In Nashville, even the cab driver probably has a record deal, locals joke. Memphis, meanwhile, is historically known as the birthplace of blues and hometown of the king of rock, Elvis Presley. Graceland, Elvis's mansion, receives more than 600,000 visitors annually. Despite all its cultural richness, Tennessee faces serious public health problems, with high rates of heart disease and diabetes, partly related to traditional Southern eating habits, rich in fried foods and processed products. Everything's bigger in Texas. And it's not just a popular saying. Being the second largest American state, behind only Alaska, Texas really lives up to its reputation for grandeur. The state mixes extensive rural areas and impressive urban centers like Houston, Dallas, and the capital Austin, which has become a tech and alternative culture hub in recent years. Austin's unofficial motto, "Keep Austin Weird," reflects its creative and irreverent spirit. The Texan personality is like the state, big, bold, and unafraid to express itself, say American culture experts. Texas is also known for its powerful petrochemical industry and aerospace technology centers, including NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, from which came the famous phrase, "Houston, we have a problem." Among the challenges faced by the state are environmental problems with high industrial pollution and significant economic inequalities. Texas is home to some of the country's richest people, but also areas of extreme poverty, especially in the region bordering Mexico. The beauty of Utah's landscapes is out of this world. Literally, many science fiction movies set on other planets are filmed there, such is the uniqueness of its geography. The state is home to 5 breathtaking national parks: Zion, Arches, Bryce Canyon, Capitol Reef, and Canyonlands, each with unique rock formations and colors that seem straight out of a surrealist painting. In Utah, nature is the true artist, say photographers who visit the state. Salt Lake City, the capital, is an ideal destination for winter sports with its snow-capped mountains. The city is also headquarters of the Mormon Church, with the impressive Salt Lake Temple and Temple Square dominating the city center. The downside? The constant arid climate, with extremely low humidity and extreme temperatures. In summer, the thermometer easily exceeds 104 degrees Celsius in many regions, while winters in the mountains can be brutally cold. Green mountains, stunning fall landscapes, and small rural towns that seem to have stepped out of a fairy tale. Welcome to Vermont. This small northern state is a treasure of rustic charm and natural beauty. Vermont is where you go when you want to slow down and appreciate the simple things in life. Frequent visitors say its capital, charming Montpelier, is the smallest state capital in the country, with only about 8,000 residents. The state is famous for its maple syrup production, artisanal cheeses, and the famous Ben & Jerry's ice cream brand, which started as a small ice cream shop in Burlington. Among the negatives are the high cost of living, among the highest in the country, and one of the harshest winters in the United States, as it borders Canada. Temperatures of 23 degrees Celsius aren't uncommon, and snow can cover the state for more than half the year. With historic cities like Richmond and Alexandria, Virginia is the state geographically closest to the United States capital, Washington, D.C. In fact, part of what was originally Virginia territory was ceded to create the District of Columbia, home to the White House and the main federal government buildings. In Virginia, you can visit George Washington's house in the morning and a cutting-edge NASA research center in the afternoon, local tour guides comment. The state is home to important historic sites such as Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home, and Colonial Williamsburg, a living museum city from the colonial period. Virginia is also known for the Shenandoah Valley, a region of extraordinary natural beauty, and for its Atlantic beaches in Virginia Beach. The most significant negative aspect is the heavy traffic in metropolitan areas, especially in northern Virginia, where thousands of people commute daily to work in Washington, D.C. Often confused with the American capital, Washington, D.C., Washington State is far away on the west coast, bordering Canada. And no, they have nothing to do with each other except for the name. Seattle, the most well-known city, is famous for being the birthplace of companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Starbucks. In Seattle, coffee isn't just a drink, it's a lifestyle. Locals joke about the city that gave rise to the world's largest coffee chain. The state also stands out for its cutting-edge technology industry and national parks with unparalleled nature, such as Olympic National Park and Mount Rainier National Park, with its iconic snow-capped volcano that dominates Seattle's skyline. The constant rainy climate is the main complaint of those living in Washington, especially in the western region. Seattle receives rain on about 150 days per year, creating that typical gray sky scenario that appears in series like Grey's Anatomy and movies like Twilight. West Virginia is a little-known and sparsely populated state with impressive geography. 75% of its territory is covered by dense forests in the Appalachian Mountains. West Virginia is the hidden paradise for nature lovers. Outdoor enthusiasts say the state has a rich history in coal mining, which has deeply shaped its culture and economy. Popular for outdoor activities like rafting, hiking, and climbing, West Virginia is home to the New River Gorge, recently designated as a national park, featuring one of the highest arch bridges in the world. Among the state's challenges are the harsh winter in mountainous regions and high poverty rates. West Virginia frequently appears among the states with the lowest per capita income in the U.S., partly due to the decline of the coal industry. Wisconsin is famous for the great lakes and dairy production, especially cheese. It's no coincidence that fans of the Green Bay Packers football team are called cheeseheads and wear cheese-shaped hats to games. In Wisconsin, cheese isn't just food, it's part of the cultural identity. Food experts explain the state produces over 600 varieties of cheese, more than anywhere else in America. Wisconsin features charming small towns and vibrant cities like Milwaukee and the capital Madison, home to the prestigious University of Wisconsin. Among the state's concerns is public health. With high rates of alcohol consumption, Wisconsin leads the country in per capita consumption of beer and spirits, part of its strong German and Scandinavian heritage. And we reach the last state on our list. Magnificent Wyoming is known for housing one of the most important parks on the planet. Yellowstone, the world's first national park, with its impressive geysers, abundant wildlife, and spectacular natural landscapes. Wyoming is the American Old West in its purest form. Historians comment, it's the least populous state in the U.S., with more bison than people in some regions. Most of its residents live in small farms and rural towns, keeping the strong cowboy culture alive. The capital, Cheyenne, is the most populous city and has only 65,000 inhabitants, fewer people than many neighborhoods in large cities. The downside is that Wyoming receives little infrastructure investment, with isolated roads that can become impassable during the harsh winters. Additionally, the great distances between communities make access to basic services like specialized healthcare a challenge, and that concludes our overview of all 50 United States. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more videos like this one. Leave in the comments which state you'd most like to visit. See you in the next video.